What's going on, everybody? Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Wanted to talk to you about our friends over at Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching sports. This app is really easy to use. You just pick more or less on a few player stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your cash on a single lineup. Best of all, Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use the promo code PFF and download the app now. The Browns are trading number 2 overall, a 4th round pick, and a 6th round pick to the Jags, who give up a 5th round pick, a 2nd round pick, number 36, and a 4th round, and also their 2026 first round pick. So essentially the Browns are moving from 2 to 5, and basically it is a 2nd rounder they are getting this year, and a 1st rounder they are getting next year. So the Browns will have 2 first round picks next year. They'll have extra 2nd round picks this year to move from 2 to 5. But what do we think? You wondered what the package was to get off of Hunter. Is this enough?
I mean, a 1st round pick to move down 3 spots is not bad.
And this is the thing. So we've talked about trading down from 5 or from, in the middle of the 1st round, but this was going to take more, even though it's only 3 spots, because it's for Hunter. Or if it was for Abdul Carter and if the Giants are up next and somebody wants the Abdul Carter pick, that would take more because these are considered the most flawless prospects in this class. There are so many fun angles on both sides of this because we've talked about now the last couple of days, what do the Jags want? Tedero and McMillan, or, they still need to fix some pieces in their secondary, and, they give up number 5 and number 36. They could have potentially done it with those 2 picks. Now they might have just done it with one player, and the best player in this draft and a player we've never seen before. And, there was some thought that James Gladstone would come into Jacksonville and do something maybe a little unconventional, and a Travis Hunter, well, he's as unconventional as it gets, right? And the Jags, the secondary was not good last year. It's known that they're looking for another receiver next to Brian Thomas Jr., had such a fantastic rookie season. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, he's still very young, and you're trying to build around him. So, look, it's gutsy. And I think from the Browns angle, I think about, Max, I know I'm looking ahead here, getting this 1st-round pick next year. Do we maybe lean off the Browns quarterback situation a little bit here? And they've got ammo. I don't know if we think about an Arch Manning. I know we're looking ahead here, but to get that 1st rounder next year, maybe you feel a little less urgency to go quarterback here. And now you get real curiously here who we're going to pick at 5 if we're Cleveland, because you're still going to get a really good football player.
Chris, thoughts? Yeah, you can say that again.
Trevor Lawrence missed most of the second half of the season, right, with injuries. And so, but now he just woke up with Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas as his wide receivers. And do we finally see the Trevor Lawrence that we thought we were going to get, in college right out of the bat, winning national championships, and here we go. And maybe they finally do get that going. And perhaps, it's a tip of the cap to Liam Cohen being in there. And if you remember what he did with Tampa, I don't have to tell you, comes down there and they get the running game going.
Yep.
But you get the running game going when you get the quarterback going. So you want to run, you got to be able to throw it a little bit.
Of course.
And so there's this. I'm kind of excited about it because Jacksonville, I think, has struggled to some extent to just create that interest in that community that maybe we all thought was going to come out of a lot of football fans over there in Jacksonville. And I just feel like that, man, these are 2 big-time playmakers on the outside that they've got now.
James Gladstone, new general manager for the Jacksonville Jaguars. One of the youngest general managers ever, the youngest general manager ever,
think so,
comes out swinging. I mean, to give up next year's first, to go after a player like this is just one hell of a statement from their new general manager.
Honestly, I think so too. And why I love this is when Dalton and I would do mock drafts for the Jaguars, whenever we took an offensive player, every Jaguars fan in the chat said, well, we need defense. Whenever we took Mason Graham to the Jaguars, he said, well, you got to support Trevor Lawrence. You do both these things now with Travis Hunter. You get a top-tier corner next to Tyson Campbell, and you get a top-tier receiver next to Brian Thomas Jr. You support Trevor Lawrence while you support the defense that was pretty bad last year too. I think it's a little much, but I really can't hate it when it's for Travis Hunter.
I want to get into a couple things with the Jags here.
Go off, King.
As far as what they sent over, and yes, there's the first next year. We'll talk about that for the next year. But, okay, so they moved up from 5. They give up 36 and 126. their draft is still nowhere near over. They're picking at 70. They're picking at 88. They're picking at 107. Talk about if they wanted a running back. There were Ashton Ginty rumors. You can get a darn good one in that range in this class. If they need more help at safety, there's late day 2 safeties here. If they need help at tight end or on the offensive line, I think that's a great range. And the idea that in that 70 and 88 range especially, the talent drop-off isn't that far. It flattens out, and the fact that he still has 2 third-round picks to work with, or if he wanted to move up again from 70, you've got the talent. The other thing is, I think with what they have signed in free agency, they need some help at safety still, but their corners right now, you have Tyson Campbell, you have Jordan Lewis, you have Jerrion Jones, and obviously Hunter is arguably more talented than all of those guys, but you look at the way the Jags are structured, this feels like a move for him to play receiver first. I would think, because I think they have less depth at receiver.
I'm going to be okay with that statement, too. The other thing that I think from Cleveland's point of view, it's entirely possible that they like one of these quarterbacks that I kind of like on the back end of this. Let's say that they weren't in love with Shedeur Sanders. Let's say that they weren't even in love with Jackson Dart. Those are the 2 that we're talking about probably in the first round. And they want to just come up in the second round, one of those high picks, and they just want to pull off a Tyler Shuck, or they want take a shot with Jalen Milroe. They've seen enough of Lamar Jackson in their lifetime,
Right.
And they go, I want one of those. Let's get one of those as well. So there's a lot going in, and you also can't underestimate the possibility they really like a quarterback next year, and let's go build a football team, do the best we can this year. But we're going to have a lot of ammunition, even if we have a few wins, to be able to trade up and do some good things.
And picking up number 36 in this draft.
Yeah.
So now they're picking 5, they're picking 33, and they're picking 36. That could be 3 premium players in this class. And we sit here and we're going to wonder about the Browns very shortly here at 5. That could be a receiver still, a Teteroa McMillan. It could be an offensive lineman. Maybe they're the first team. Well, it will depend on New England what they're going to do. But they could take one of these offensive tackles we've been talking about. Are the Browns in Ashton Ginty's spot? They don't have much at running back right now. Nick Chubb is gone, and obviously after all the injuries, and it's just not there, right? They're sitting on, Jerome Ford and a couple other guys you wouldn't consider starters. Maybe that's the Ashton Ginty spot, and Kevin Stefanski wants to get the run game going. So all of a sudden, the possibilities for the Browns become endless, both you mentioned next year, but also right now in the first 40 picks of this draft.
The only thing I don't like about it, and I've already said it, so I'm not second-guessing, is after these first 3 picks, I think it levels off.
Yeah.
So 5, to me, is not nearly as valuable in this draft as it has been in prior drafts.
It's reasonable. Look, could they trade down again?
If somebody would take it.
You think they would trade down again?
Why not? If the idea for this Browns team is, look, we just need starters. We're devoid of talent at a ton of spots on our football team, and we're paying a defensive end $40 million a year, and we're still hurting on the Deshaun Watson contract. We got to be more efficient with a cap space here, too.
Hey, Ashton Ginty, if assuming that the Giants or New England, they don't take him here, and somebody wants to jump in front of the Raiders, 5 is that spot.
Going down to 10? That's been rumored all day, too. Going down to 10 with the Bears, they can still think about it.
Yeah. The pick is officially Travis Hunter, by the way. I feel like I was leaving the graphics team in suspense there when we were talking about it being Travis Hunter. It is officially Travis Hunter here to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, yes, now everything is broken loose, right? All of the mock drafts are now wrong. It's like it's like when the Cinderella team, the 15 beats the 2 in March Madness. Well, there goes all the brackets. Now we're just talking about maximum fun that we could have tonight. I think that's a scenario there. I've talked about it before with, would Chicago even, trade up even higher? Would they try to get even up for Abdul Carter, right? Could they trade up to number 3? I don't think they're going to get that aggressive, but I think we are seeing now that anything could happen in this draft.